Good morning, everybody, from a cloudy and slightly chilly Southern California. We had a bit of rain last night, so the temperature kind of stayed a little higher than when it's a clear night. You get those really pleasant sunny days that lead to very cold nights. So when it rains and the clouds come in, it keeps the temperature a little bit more comfortable at night, not so cold. And you wake up to that kind of weather. I don't know what I'd rather take. I do like the slightly warmer temperature, but I do miss the blue sky. At any rate, it's been a few days since I've done a retro show, so I just wanted to touch bases with you guys. As you may or may not know, I have been very busy with spreadsheets in this league, just toying around with some ideas for improvements. Adding some realism, maybe adding some intricate box scores that we might enjoy. And if you guys take a look at the website, you'll see where I have posted box scores under the message forum. And I encourage you to look at those if you have not yet done so. Because what I'm proposing here, what I think is going to be a great idea, is for us to have individual positions in the future. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, and you only get 48 minutes per position. And I'll show you one of those box scores in just a second here. In fact, let's just do it right now. We have the Pistons right off the top. Let's just pull them up. And you're going to see where basically players can play multiple positions. Whoa. Okay, let's just bring that back to normal size there. So as you can see here, you have the position for the player. We got Giannis here first off. He plays power forward center. His primary position would be power forward, his secondary center. And then you have, I only have this ranking column because that's how I was deciding how to make these box scores. Because in the future, GMs will create their own ranking lists. And you'll basically do that based on how you would use a guy. You know, is he your favorite guy? Then you would rank him top on your list. Doesn't matter what position he plays. At any rate, then I have his NBA minutes. And I download this all from the website. So all these stats are accurate. And then you're going to have his, that's actually not his fantasy minutes. That's actually his fantasy points per game. That's his minutes right there. So then you got his primary minutes. This is where the box score comes in. You have his primary minutes and his secondary minutes. So you can see that he played 22.7 of his primary minutes. And he played 15.3 minutes of his secondary minutes. So he played 15.3 minutes at center. He played 22.7 minutes at power forward, right? And this is what his fantasy minutes were, FMIN, 38. So he gets his full minutes because he is your main guy. So your top players are always going to get their entire allotment of minutes that they played in real life. They only get fractional minutes compared to their NBA minutes when you get down to the guys that are coming off of your bench. And so his fantasy score is going to match that of his NBA score, because what this fantasy score basically is his fantasy points divided by his NBA minutes multiplied by his fantasy minutes. And then I added this 48-minute stat column just so you could see how he does per minute. His fantasy score is per minute, and he's obviously a great player, 43.76 points per 48 minutes. That's fantasy points for Giannis. And so on and so forth. So I work my way down the box score, filling in these minutes for all your players. As you can see, here's a power forward, small forward. Here's a small forward, power forward guy. And I just keep on filling in their primary and secondary minutes. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to use as little of players as possible on your ranking list. And as you can see with this team, I stopped at the 9th ranked player because I was able to get all the minutes needed, which is 240 minutes for the entire box score right there. And that's how I also know that I'm wrong or right. When I'm doing these, filling in these minutes, I'll know if I made a mistake somewhere, because this number will exceed 240. I'm working to get it at 240. There will be instances where a team is injured or something, or they didn't get enough minutes in a period from some of their players, that they won't get the 240. But most of the time you will, especially if you maintain a 12-man roster. And that's another thing. I plan in the future to just allow you guys to have as many people on your roster as you want. But I want to implement a salary cap. which is based on the NBA salary cap. And I've done the numbers, I've crunched the numbers, and 330 million is roughly right on target with what a 12-team league would be. And that's all another thing. I'd like to move this league down to 12 teams because I want teams to have more talent per team as far as like that's available to them, but at the same time also need those secondary players. And because of the salary cap, that will not allow teams to build an unbelievably good club that's like worth too much money. It's unrealistic. You wouldn't be able to do that. You would be relegated to, a salary cap, which would keep things reasonable, and you couldn't get teams building powerhouses that just simply couldn't be beat. That's not the way it works in real life, and that's not the way I want this league to work. I do put a lot of work into it, and I feel like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to put this kind of work into it. I want it to be worthwhile, and I want this league to be pretty cool too. And I think making these box scores for you guys is a great touch, and it will get you guys really into like, making sure you've got those point guards, got those players taking up those minutes. It'll add a challenge to the game, and then also adhering to a salary cap, and it'll make trades more fun, more straightforward. Nice thing is I don't do any of this busy work as far as keeping track of salaries. The site Fantrax takes care of all of it for me, which is enough. So you can see here under the message form where I've made these box score posts, and I showed you that first one. But anyways, take a look at those, and then take a look at some of the things that I've proposed for the league next year. This is just a summary, and as you may or may not know, if you've been paying attention, I have been kind of changing my mind a lot, doing a lot, because I'm just brainstorming. I get excited, and then I post the information, but I'm kind of keeping you guys up to date on it. I notice nobody's really commenting. Maybe you guys are in shock or something, and you're just, seeing things out. You're just watching what I'm doing. But I guarantee you, I'm going to come up with a really good league by the end of the year. And for those of you that don't like change, I realize some people don't really care for change. To those people, I would say, hey, I think this is change for the better. And if you can't deal with it, you don't have to stay. I hate to see any of you guys go. But seriously, I realize that some people get really disturbed by change. It's just something that some people freak out about. And I guarantee you this, though. The changes won't keep coming. I'm settling on a league that I'm going to live with. And I have this whole year to do that, to kind of fine tune things and tweak things and get us to a point where I'm extremely happy as a GM, as a commissioner. I want this league to be worth my time. I'm putting a lot of time into it, and I want it to be something that I like and I'm proud of. It's challenging and fun. That's what I'm looking for. So I think also with a 12-team league, I could get, this league filled up with individual owners. I want to get away from guys running two teams. I'm also looking at making a nicer trophy. I know that the trophy I got last year, Phil Johnson can tell you about it. It's a nice little trophy, but I'd like to make a more elaborate trophy, like spend some more money, maybe double or triple what I paid for this trophy, get a much nicer trophy, or, perhaps instead of getting the trophy, if somebody would just rather get $100 or something for winning the league, fine. I could do that too. I could just send you a $100 bill and a cheap trophy, or I could send you a really nice trophy and no money. But that's also something I'm looking at, because I want to make this league worth your while. And I also want to buy your attention a little bit and say, hey, bear with me. Let's make this league special. Let's make this a really cool league. That's my entire intention here. And also, guys that are in my program football league, you guys might know me from that, how, we did a little tweaking with the rules in the early days, but we've pretty much settled on a league. And that's the thing. It's like, there's nothing wrong with change as long as it's for the better. And that's all I'm saying. I want to end right there with that, just saying, hey, bear with me. Let's see this thing through. And if you don't like it after next year, you give this new system a try. And if you don't like it, fine, walk. Nobody's forcing you, obviously. But anyways, I'm going to pull up another Excel document I had. Okay, here we go. This is a list of the top 30 players from this last 7 days. So basically, these players have played about anywhere from 2 to 3 games, sometimes maybe 4 games. There are some players who played 4 games. But I basically sorted them out on their 48-minute stats, because that's going to be very important in the future, the 48-minute stats. And there'll be a lot more talk about, like, how to fill out a roster and, some of these new rules that I want to implement. There'll be a lot more in-depth talk about that. And I think you're going to find it interesting. But anyways, let's just get back to just kind of the news now. I'm sorting them on the last 7 days now, the hot players out of the last 7 days, and I've sorted this list further based on not overall gross points, but points per 48 minutes. As you can see at the top of the list over here is Joel Embiid. He plays for the San Diego Saints. He has been red hot with 61.65 minutes fantasy points per 48 minutes. And Joel, one of the things that he always does is he rebounds, of course, but he also gets a lot of assists for a big man. And that makes him an outstanding player in terms of fantasy score. He also is an excellent scorer. He's very efficient with his field goal attempts. The reason for that is Joel Embiid gets fouled a lot. And so those points he scores at the free throw line, and he's also an excellent free throw shooter for a big man. Those points he's scoring there at the free throw line are free of field goal attempts because when you get fouled, it's not considered an attempt. So bonus, right? Look for those guys who get fouled a lot and go to the line. Those guys are very valuable, and their teams they play for generally are good teams. Jokic, no surprise here, comes in second on the list. He has got 57.57 per 48 minutes, and he has had himself a nice little stretch of games. I'm looking here, and I see that he's played in 3 games over this period. That's a little better than Joel, who only played 2 games. So Joker, of course, having another great performance, 26 attempts for 36 points. He's averaging 6 offensive rebounds and 11 assists. The new big man in this league is that guy who can run point guard practically. I mean, look at all those assists. That's crazy. These are game averages. 11 assists per game for Joker and only 3 turnovers, 2 steals, no blocks, surprisingly. Anthony Davis coming in third. As you can see, big men dominate basketball. Look at all these guys per 48. They're all forwards and centers. And again, next year, these guys are going to have multiple positions, some of them. Multiple positions. And there's even guys that are qualified as point guards / centers, believe it or not. There's some of those players. Fantrax has some funky position combinations, but these are all based on real life. That's what they base their positions on. We'll go with Fantrax, what they give us, and that makes those box scores much more interesting. You can have a guy that comes off the bench and plays shooting guard and small forward for you. But anyways, moving down the list here, Anthony Davis, 46.83 per 48 minutes, solid performance there. Big rebound numbers, 4 offensive, 9 defensive, 3 assists, just 2 turnovers. And also his field goal attempts, great, 16 for 26 points. Very efficient work there for Anthony Davis. Giannis Antetokounmpo coming in on the list at number 4 overall. He has 43.84 per 48 minutes. And good rebound numbers as usual. Good, strong shooting numbers. As you can see, the numbers are all up there on screen. Jusuf Nurkic, one of my favorite players when he's healthy, playing for the LA Guardians. He had 40.53 per 48, and as usual, Nurkic is always good on the rebounds, but quite a few assists for a big man there, 5.3. It is the new thing in the NBA. These guys that play the big man positions, and they're like point guards. They can dish out the assists. The thing about Nurkic is he's a very efficient player. He only takes 9 attempts and scored 11 points. He doesn't really score his points all the time offensively. He scores them with his other numbers, keeping the turnovers low, the defensive numbers, and the rebounding numbers all good for Jusuf Nurkic. You got Jalen Duren of the Carolina Copperheads. He's only 20 years old, having a great stretch of games here. He played I see that he played, where is it at? Games played, 3 games over this period, 38.47 per 48. Duren only 20 years old, and he has a strong, bright future in this league. As you can see, his minutes are at 27. He's one of those guys, per minute. He doesn't get a lot of minutes. A lot of big men are like that. Clint Capella is a good example of that. Low minutes, but great production per minute, and that's going to become more valuable in the future. Evan Mobley, another center, coming in with 37.49 per 48. He's one of your top scorers. Miles Turner of the Fort Wayne Pistons in this league. By the way, Mobley also a Carolina Copperhead. So basically, Carolina would have 2 centers there that are productive. And when you look at their minutes, you got Mobley at 36. You got Duren at 27. Now, let's say Duren is maintaining a better per minute average. He's got 38.47 here. Mobley has 37.49. The way you would do your lineup is, if this was always consistent, you would want Jalen Duren, in spite of the fact that he has lower minutes, you'd want him first on your ranking list because he's getting more points per minute. And that's why guys who only average maybe 15 minutes a game, even some guys that average 10 minutes a game, are going to be valuable, because if they're blowing it up per minute, why not rank them higher on your list and get those better numbers per minute from them? These efficient players are going to be more important. That's what I want for this league. I want us to know about some of these more obscure players. I can't stand leagues that are just like, it's all superstars, all superstars. Some of these guys aren't all that great per minute. They waste a lot of time on the court. One example of that, a prime example, is a guy that plays for the Saints that I know well, DeJounte Murray. Murray seems like a great player, but I'm telling you, the guy is dead space out there sometimes. He's just a body out there standing around waiting for a shot. Same thing goes for Klay Thompson. Look, maybe in real life, it's a different story. You got a guy who can camp out at the 3-point line and be effective. But honestly, I think that's a special situation, and to make a program that could utilize that would be really hard. That would take a lot of programming. It could be done, and I would love to make such a program, but that's way down the line. I would like to make a program where it analyzes the game. Like, it says, okay, a shot just went up. Now there's a fight for the rebound. Which team got the rebound? Okay, is there another possession now? Then it goes through your shooters, like who's the guy you want to shoot first. It could be a Klay Thompson. Then he might be valuable. I mean, if he's lighting it up from 3-point land, yeah, of course, distribute him the ball first. When you get a possession, always have Klay Thompson taking those shots, and then your rebounders fight for the rebounds. But that's a really high-tech program that would need to be written, and a very time-consuming program, and it's just not happening now. But for our purposes, I think what I want to do, which is make you guys fill out minutes per position, I think that's awesome, because it really forces people to try to find the point guards, and also the 48-minute stats, because you're having to stick to 48 minutes per position. You're looking for efficiency. I'm going to round this video out pretty quickly here, because I've spent a lot of ranting about what I've been working on. Again, take a look at these box scores I've been making. Take a look before you have anything to say about it. I say, take a long look at these things I'm talking about and consider them. And again, I also would like the fact that Fantrax can handle things like salary caps for me, so I don't have to bother with that kind of information. I'm backing off of contracts. We don't need to state how many years you want to keep a guy. Just keep him as long as you can fit your team that you have under the cap. Then you're fine. Do whatever you want to do. But Fantrax will keep track of that for me and allow me to focus on the things that I got to do, which is, like, every Monday, I'm going to have to go through and get your ranking lists and then fill out your box scores so that I can present you guys with the game results. Generally, it'll take me sometimes as short as Monday. I could get it all done Monday, but if I'm busy on a Monday, perhaps, it might come out Tuesday. If I'm super busy Monday and Tuesday, then maybe Wednesday the results come. But in a 12-team league, that's also why I also want to pare down to 12 teams, because I can handle the workload without being overwhelmed, because I do have other things to do in my life. I have a job. I generally work nights, but I also delve into the stock market a little bit. And there are times when the market's really stressful and I don't have it's basically an emotional thing, because money's on the line. So there's times when it's like, look, I can't be playing games. I got to be here at the market focusing on stocks. I don't want to have to face deadlines over fantasy basketball on a Monday or Tuesday, because I've got deadlines. I'd rather, say, hey guys, give me until Wednesday sometimes if I need it. Most of the time I'll get them on Monday, but there could be times when I'm busy and I'm dealing with probably the stock market, could be some other life event. You never know what's going to happen, but by Wednesday, guaranteed, I'll always have the numbers. When I'm only operating with 12 teams, should be no issue. But quickly, I'm just going to round out the top 10 guys, roughly the top 10. We got Cole Anthony, first guard to make the list. He's with the Rockets. That's Williams' team. And a solid performance there with 36.4 per 48. Julius Randle, forward from the Guardians, with 36.1. You've got DeAndre Ayton of the Phoenix Suns, an available team, by the way. Phoenix is going to be one of those teams on the block, most likely. If we dissolve 6 teams, Phoenix is going to be one of them. So that's another thing to consider. There's going to be a lot of players out there as free agents this next draft in the offseason. So those of you that are over the cap right now slightly, you might be like, hey, I want to keep whatever I got. Well, maybe not, actually. You might want to waive some of those guys, clear out some cap space, because there's going to be some attractive-looking free agents coming into the league. And moving right along, we got Alperen Sengun. Man, it is dominated by big men, this list. I'm going to skip down now. By the way, Sengun plays for the Lakers in this Showtime in this league. That's Phil Johnson's team. Let's just look for some guards here. Damian Lillard of the Poway Eagles comes in with 31.9 per 48. Spencer Dinwiddie made the list from the Mavs, 31.88 per 48. De'Aaron Fox of Sacramento. He was in the 30s, 30.8 per 48. Other guards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City. By the way, Gilgeous would be a free agent this offseason. Something to look forward to, especially for you teams at the bottom of the standings. I know that A.J. Nardi has been trying like hell to trade for Shai Gilgeous when I was running the team. Hey, guess what? We have a separate rookie draft. That's the proposal. You'll be able to get the top rookie if your team ends up at the bottom, and if you free up enough cash. And I think that his Denver Nuggets already have the cash. They have plenty under the cap. The cap is proposed at $330 million. Guess what? Shai Gilgeous, he's on the table. All you got to do is draft him. If you can afford him, he is yours. Finally, the rest of the guards here. You got Donovan Mitchell of the Guardians making the list. Fred VanVleet of the Clippers, another team that is likely to be dissolved, possibly. Maybe keep that team, and that is one that AJ is running. We got Luka Doncic down on the list. He's still on the top 30 at least, though, averaging 27.47. Kind of an off week for Luka. He's the Warriors, of course, Phil Johnson's team. Steph Curry of the Poway Eagles comes in last guard to make the list, 27.27. So that's going to do it for today. I'm going to make a few more shows, but right now we're thick into the football season. Bowl season is upon us, and my program football league, that's a big deal for us. It's a really fun league, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time doing videos for that league, especially because I got a lot of bowls to preview. So, just letting you guys know, I'm going to make a retro show here and there when I can. And again, look into what I've been talking about, what I've outlined for changes. This year we'll stick with what we got. Best ball it is. Standard trophy at the end of the year to the winner. But next year, big things coming. Better trophy, cool changes, more challenge, more fun. And I think you guys are going to like it. All right, I'll talk to you later.